I'd like to call the Linn-Mar Community School District Board of Education annual meeting to order at 5 p.m. in the boardroom of the Learning Resource Center. Will you please determine a quorum?
Buckholz. Here. Eisenberg. Here. Lawson.
Here.
Maury.
Here.
Nelson.
Here.
Walt.
Here.
And Weaver.
Here.
Quorum is present at 5 o'clock.
Okay, motion.
I move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, carries. Okay, let's see here. At this time, the board invites the public to speak on items related to the agenda or district. The board will receive and acknowledge comments, but will not engage in a dialogue with the speaker because of the set agenda for the meeting. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Remarks should not contain names or other identifying information about students, teachers, administrators, or other personnel. At this time, if someone would like to speak, will you come forward and make sure you've signed in with your name and address, and then state your name. Is there anybody tonight that would like to speak? Wow. Okay, let's move on. I love it. Superintendent update, please.
I would like to speak, so I will take that chance, I guess.
You go for it.
Several quick updates for everybody since last time we met. The first Linn-Mar district newsletter went out emailed to everybody, and also it's available on our website, and people can actually sign up to have it emailed to them if they don't have a Linn-Mar address as well. So I'm excited to have that communication tool starting. I'd like to send those out approximately on a monthly basis, hopefully on a monthly basis with just different updates throughout the district. Just trying to continue to look for ways to enhance our communication and with our community. So thanks to our communication department, Caitlin and Kevin, for leading those efforts, and look forward to seeing more of those in the future. If you have not seen it yet, you can go to our website and take you to it right there, and we've had really good traffic on that since it went out last week, so fun to see. Return to Learn plans, since last time we met, we've had some updates there as well. I do anticipate updating the Return to Learn plans and bringing those to the board for some consideration in December as we approach the January 3rd timeline that I'll talk about in a minute. Due to the vaccine availability for students under ages 11 and under, we're looking at the board approval from back in September for the 60-day turnaround from the vaccine availability to the time masks will not be required in our pre-K 6 building. So that does set January 3rd as the effective date for that change. So that's one change we'll look to make in our official Return to Learn plans. Masks, of course, are still encouraged and they're available throughout our schools as well. If people want them, they're more than welcome to do so, but they would not be required any longer. Masks are still required, though, on school buses. That's a separate CDC directive, so that has not changed yet. So we'll continue to follow the guidance in the law on that piece as well. And then the other change we're looking at is inviting our visitors and volunteers back in our schools along that same timeline. So we're very excited to have that happen again, from parents to our wonderful volunteers that we have such a great tradition with. So looking very much forward to those changes starting 2022. So I'm excited for that. We're also looking at some other tweaks to the Return to Learn plan just to make sure it's updated and accurate as things continue to evolve. So I will bring that to the board in December. And then one other thing, just as a reminder, Return to Learn plans, we will continue to update those on a regular basis for the next 2 years. That's actually part of our ESSER requirements for funding for the federal government. We'll continue to have those updated on our website as well. So we'll revisit them as needed. I'm anticipating the changes will be less than they have the last year and a half, but there still will be adjustments we'll make and continue to keep those up to date for at least the next 2 years as well. So. And then finally, board election, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes. Congratulations to Matt Rollinger, Melissa Walker, Rachel Wall for being elected. Looking forward to working with each of you to really achieve our school mission to inspire learning, unlock potential, and empower achievement. Looking forward to continuing that commitment from our school board and our district. So congratulations to each of you. I'd also like to thank Geraldine Jones and Kara Larson. It takes a lot to put yourself out there and run for a campaign, so appreciate their willingness to do so as well. And I especially want to thank Tim Eisenberg and Kara Lawson for your service, which we will get to in a later agenda item as well. But just want to thank everybody for the participation in the election. That is not an easy thing at any time, and putting yourself out there takes a lot of courage and commitment to the district. So thanks to all. And that's all the updates I have for you. So I'll take any questions board members may have.
Anybody? I see none. So we will move on to the Student Improvement Advisory Committee. Would someone like to report on the meeting? Something at the meeting?
Yep, I'm happy to.
Okay.
We had a great meeting. We looked at the ISAS data, and it was really interesting because we got it in the form we're sort of used to having with some of those tables, which I think are included in the, or Nathan's going to be including those when it comes to the board. And then, but we got to see it broken down in a much better way, in a much more visible way. By building, by race, by gender. We were sort of really able to kind of drill down a little bit on that and see where are we doing well, where are places that we have opportunities for improvement, and we talked about that. And we also did that for the learning survey. Shannon, remind me what the name of, do you know what I'm talking about?
I do, trying to think what it's called, the
Is it
conditions of learning.
Conditions of learning, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I
think
don't
for a
have it
second
sitting
for
right
that
in front
word.
of me. Okay, so the conditions of learning survey, and Barry can probably talk a little bit more about that because we kind of split into groups, and my group worked on the test data, and then Barry's group worked on the condition of learning survey and that data. So I can.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to sit with two teachers, one at the high school level, I believe, or the middle school level, and one at an elementary level. So to get their input in, because they're the ones that actually remember giving the test and asking the questions and kind of walking through it. And what was kind of interesting was, and I think Nathan addressed this, that it was kind of following, the two of them followed together. So some of the people had put a lot of pressure on them when they got to this learning survey. Some of them were saying, I want to get this done, let's get out of here. And one of the teachers in my group, they waited and did it another time, and she felt it was better received. So with all of that said, and then a couple of the pieces that I thought really worked good, or as you look at it, is how are we going to use the data? What support will be put in place in the lower areas? You know, we're still excelling. We're still, but you know, everybody's kind of trended downwards, and we're on the upward swing when you go through what we went through this last year. And then one question we had is each school going to be able to see all their own data, and how can the leadership of the building use that? So that's all in process, right, Nathan? Yes. So, and then one of the real positive pieces, you know, one thing that we addressed as a group when we went to all online learning for a short time was how are we going to be able to catch up these students that are behind? And every building and every school is having after-school classes. And if a child is falling behind, say, on reading or math, it's not necessarily even voluntary. You know, it's very, very highly recommended that they come to that to get themselves built back up. And that response and that participation has gone very well. So, because we are caught, I don't want to say we're caught up, but we're not as far behind as we were all afraid we were going to be when we made that decision. So.
And we're catching up.
Yeah.
Like that's a process,
Yeah.
and we're moving in that direction.
And there'll be another survey then coming out down very soon this spring, I believe, too, and then that'll help with the follow-up too. So.
All right, we'll move on. Was there a person that did Marion City Council? Not sure that anyone.
We didn't have it in our records that somebody was on that one, so we, Gail and I looked, there was not a lot in the minutes from the city council meeting this past time.
Okay.
That was impactful for Linn-Mar. As you might expect, a lot of road construction type things
Yeah.
is we're all experiencing, but I didn't see anything else in there.
Okay.
I think that'll be very important. We've gotten lax, I think, the last few months assigning somebody to that role, and I think we need to make sure we split that up moving forward. I think that's pretty important. So.
Yeah, I think part of it was trying to decide if they were Zoom or they were in person, and now I think they're in person and people can go, and then you can read the minutes later if you can't make it, so it's kind of good. It's a good thing. All right, next, Facilities Advisory Committee, and Britt and Clark and I are part of that. We do have a group of participants in that, that will be coming to the board and presenting it to us, the recommendations and all of that. So we won't go into everything, but Britt, is there something you'd like to highlight of what you heard?
So it was Monday night, and it was just a really good conclusion to the work that we've been doing. You could see from our beginning conversations about the needs of the district, and then our game of Tetris where we moved blocks around the map to try and figure out where things would fit. And that's what the group is going to come and present, kind of where all the groups came together and what aligned, and I don't want to steal their thunder, so I will just say that high school parking is on that list. So for those that are worried about high school parking, it's on the list.
There you go, Tim.
I
You
see.
can leave
See,
this board knowing you've done your work.
See, Tim, I suggested that when we get one, that we should put a little sign,
We're gonna call it the
Tim Eisenberg Parking.
Maybe he could have his own stall.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear that?
Your
An
own stall.
honorary stall.
Reserved, Tim Eisenberg.
So we're going to go over all that. They're going to come and present to all of us at the December meeting.
Yeah.
But then the next steps will be all of us bringing that information, and then JT figuring out all the numbers and telling us what we
What
can
we
do
can
and
and
when we
can't
can do
afford
it. And
and-
so
yeah.
the next part is going to be exciting too. No pressure, JT.
Okay.
Yeah, make it all work.
Yes,
But no,
yes.
it was a good meeting, and it was nice to see, because it's made up of community members and staff and students, and everyone, there was consensus, and everyone agreed with what was presented, and so it was a good, conclusive meeting.
You know, and everything was kept at a kind of a beginning level. I mean, we're deciding on things that were important and kind of the, what was first, what was second, in a sense, all right? And we didn't go into any details within, because that's not what that advisory group was about. But it helped sort through all the things, because a lot of people had input. So that was awesome. So it will be fun to hear, you know, how they present and what they say. I, too, was very impressed with the process. OPN did a great job helping facilitate all that, as they always do. Clark, is there anything you'd like to
Yeah,
add?
I mean, just to say what everybody else has said, yeah, it was very impressive on how they broke down, because when they put the stuff on the overhead, well, that's an old term, but yeah, considering who's saying it, that's okay. And what they did is that the priorities were all there that we had. And, you know, the total package so far seems to be within our reach, hopefully. Hopefully you got that hint, JT. It's just one of those things that even the Marion City Council has helped us, you know, in some venues, because they moved from 50 feet to build to 25 feet, so that's helped us. And they're cooperating as much as they can. But I think the key issues are all there. And what I like is that when it comes down to this, I think there's some things that we can do fairly soon. And, you know, some things because of just how big the project is, you know, will take a little bit longer, but it's all doable. And I think all that stuff is staying within our district, and I think that's going to be a real good selling point, how we go about doing these little changes within the system, which we haven't heard yet. But OPN did a great job in their presentation, and I'm glad that, you know, there's room for some ideas to refine. And, you know, I was really impressed, and it was enjoyable to listen to see how they approached everything.
Okay.
I'll jump in real quick to just kind of give you a little hint to what you're going to see on here in the 12th. Just keep in mind, everything the committee focused on was on a very high level. So you will not see details or renderings of very specific things yet. You will see more global concepts of priority areas that were identified, especially in the high school footprint of everything as well. And the group did a great job of staying there, because it was easy at times to try to go into details, or I want to learn more about this, and that part will come in time. But so it's kind of a handoff now from the committee of that really high-level view, and they hit the consensus really pretty smoothly through the process. So you'll see kind of that outcome of their consensus building. and then come to the board like we talked about, and then that committee, we may want to bring them back again and do some more of the detail work potentially, or maybe subgroups within those pieces. So there's lots of ways to continue that work and that conversation. But like we've said all along, it's been a really fun committee to work with, really engaged group since the very first meeting, and really good conversation, dialogue. And we've had a couple volunteers, we asked for volunteers to come and present, and a few people already have. We have to do a few more follow-up emails, and see if we get a few others willing to come and speak and present. But definitely a consensus across the board of excitement for it, and hopefully they're comfortable coming and present to the board and speak about it. So stay tuned. That'll be fun work for us in December.
Okay, next we have the canvas of votes. JT, would you like to speak to that?
Sure. The canvassing of votes for the November 2nd city school election has been completed, and I've received an electronic version of the abstract of votes from Linn County yesterday. So I will report those results now. Note these are reported in alphabetical order. Geraldine Jones received 2,591 votes. Kara Larson, 3,279 votes. Kara Lawson, 3,118 votes. Matt Rollinger, 3,819 votes. Melissa Walker, 4,833 votes. Rachel Wall, 4,213 votes. There were 230 write-in votes for a total of 22,083 votes. Based on these results, the county in the election declares Matt Rollinger, Melissa Walker, and Rachel Wall duly elected for the office of Linn-Mar Community School District Directors at Large.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have some recognitions.
As I started kind of mentioning earlier, I just want to really take some time and thank Kara and Tim for their dedicated service to Linn-Mar. Tim for 10 years, Kara for 4 years. Those are long times of commitment on your part to volunteer your time, and in any situation, I think that's admirable. But to do it, especially in the kind of the situation we've been in the last couple of years on top of it, is especially admirable. So thanks to both of you for your willingness to lead and willingness to serve, and hope you continue to stay involved in any way possible through Linn-Mar. I know you both will. You've already both shown that interest, so I appreciate that very much as well. So I do have a couple of simple gifts to give you as well, but I'd also like to ask others to join in me in kind of thanking Tim and Kara for their dedication and service to Linn-Mar as board members. So. They are personalized to make sure you're the right person, the right and then Gail gives exactly the same bags.
They're not. The tissue paper is clearly
That's
different.
what she told me.
Thank you, Galen.
It's just remembering which was supposed to go to which person.
Exactly. I think Gail probably told me 7 times.
Look at his socks.
Yeah, they match. That's funny. Yeah, there you go. Perfect, perfect. Okay, we'll move on to unfinished business. A motion about the Oak Ridge Middle School Lau Park Running Track Project.
Make a motion to accept the Oak Ridge Middle School Lau Park Running Track Project as complete and authorize final payment to L. Pelling Company Incorporated in the amount of $39,285.02.
Second.
Okay. Any questions? Not seeing any. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes.
I move to approve setting a public hearing for 5 p.m. on December 13th, 2021 for approval of plans and specifications for the 2022 Bowman Woods roof project.
Second.
Second. All right. Any questions about it at this time? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Establishing a hearing for next.
I make a motion to approve setting a public hearing for 5 p.m. on December 13th, 2021 for the approval of the plans and specifications for the 2022 Echo Hill Roof Improvement Project.
Second.
Okay. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. 7:03.
Make a motion to approve setting a public hearing for 5 PM on December 13th, 2021 for their approval of the plans and specifications for the 2022 Novak roof improvement project.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
I make a motion to approve setting a public hearing for 5 PM on December 13th, 2021 for the approval of the plans and specifications for the 2022 Learning Resource Center roof improvement project.
Second.
Once again, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And it passes.
I make a motion authorizing district administration to submit a request to the School Budget Review Committee for a modified supplemental amount of $1,064,953 for open enrolled out students who were not included in the district's previous year certified enrollment count.
Second.
Okay. Any questions about that? Okay.
Does everybody know what that is? This is an annual approval of our SBRC application. Usually it's one motion, but the DE has specified that we need to separate the 3 items out. There's only 2 that we qualify for, because the other item is if we have increased enrollment, we would get spending authority for that. We obviously, our enrollment declined, so we don't qualify for any additional allowable growth. So this again goes to the SBRC committee for approval, and it gives us authority. That doesn't necessarily mean there's funding or tax dollars to back that. We'll just decide that when we go through the certified budget process in the spring. So.
Okay. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Motion to authorize district administration to submit a request to the School Budget Review Committee for a modified supplemental amount of $23,488 related to the English language learning program for students who have exceeded 5 years of waiting that are included on the fall 2021 certified enrollment headcount.
Second.
Okay. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
Motion to approve the open enrollment requests as presented.
Second.
Okay. Any questions about those? Not seeing any. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay. Anything on there that someone wants to discuss?
Congratulations to David Sweeney on their retirement.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Anyone else?
No.
Okay. So, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right. Board communications. Is there anything at this point somebody wants to say?
I was just going to say thank you for allowing me, working with some great boards, administration, teachers, staff. And, you know, we built a lot of buildings, put in a lot of programs, but I think the thing I'm most proud of is that we've had disagreements on the table. You know, we'll be 4-3, 5-2, 6-1, whatever it is, but we always seem to move forward together. So I think I'm the most proud of that. You know, that's not all school boards, but I've been proud of that for the last 10 years, so thank you.
Cool.
Okay. Anything else? All right, so an adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn the annual meeting at 5:23 PM.
Is there a-
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I thought we might sit here. No, we're good. I'd like to call to order the Linn-Mar Community School District Board of Education organizational meeting at 6 p.m. in the boardroom of the Learning Resource Center. Please determine a quorum.
Buckholz. Here. Maury.
Here.
Nelson.
Here.
Rollinger. Here. Walker. Wall.
Here.
And Weaver.
Here.
Quorum is present at 6 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah. Adoption of the agenda.
Yeah, I make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's taken care of. Okay, new business. This moment, we need to do the appointment of the board secretary treasurer and administer the oath.
I move to appoint J.T. Anderson, Linn-Mar Chief Financial Operating Officer, as Board Secretary and Treasurer for the 2021-22 school year.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes. JT? Whoa.
Good save.
Isn't it? Dang. Okay. How do we do this?
A special spot set up.
This is so official. Okay.
Sorry, you just looked funny.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of Secretary and Treasurer for the Linn-Mar Community School District Board of Education as now and hereafter required by law?
I will.
Congratulations.
This is my favorite 5 minutes of the whole year, right here.
I was just going to say, this is the 5
Totally
minutes
in
where JT
charge.
is totally in charge of everything.
Yeah, and don't forget that time you got the applause when you went back after you made your presentation.
Yeah, I'm going to take my time here. So, at this time, we'll move to item 302, oath of office for newly elected board members. Melissa Walker could not be here, so we will administer the oath to Matt Rollinger. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of your elected office in the Linn-Mar Community School District as now and hereafter required by law? I will. Congratulations.
Can I say something? I just want to acknowledge that Melissa Walker had a family emergency, and that's why she's not here this evening. But she is watching from the hospital on YouTube, so we can all say hi, and we will swear her in as soon as she's available.
We'll do her oath at a different time. So.
Yes.
So now we will move to item 303, election of board president and administration of oaths. So at this time, I will open the floor for nominations of school board president for a term of 1 year.
I nominate Britt Morey for president of the Linn-Mar School Board.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are there any other nominations? If not, I will close the nomination period. I have a motion by Clark and a second by Rachel to nominate or to approve Britt Morey as board president for a 1-year term. We will now have a roll call vote. Buckholz.
Yes.
Morey.
It's weird, but yes, I guess.
Nelson.
Yes.
Rollinger.
Yes.
Walker. Wall.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Motion carries. Britt Morey is approved for the board president to serve a 1-year term, and we will now administer her oath. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of President of the Linn-Mar Community School District Board of Education as now and hereafter required by law?
I will.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's all yours.
I have to move and everything, all right.
Snacks and all.
Gotta rescue the brownie. Okay. So. Okay, I will move to open the floor to nominations for vice president.
I'd like to make the nomination, I'd like to make a nomination of Clark Weaver as the board vice president to serve for 1 year.
Second.
Thank you. Can we have a roll call vote?
Maury,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Rollinger,
Yes.
Wall,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Buckholz.
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of Vice President of the Linn-Mar Community School District Board of Education as now and hereafter required by law?
I will.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Item 305, an appointment of board legal counsel for fiscal 2022.
I move to appoint the law firm of Pickens, Pickens, Barnes, and Abernathy for general counsel, and Terry Abernathy as attorney. Simmons, Prine, Moyer, and Bergman for real estate and copyright matters. Ehlers and Cooney for special education, personnel negotiations, construction, real estate, and bonding matters. And Lynch Dallas for general counsel for the 2021-2022 school year.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Making a motion to approve the 2021-2022 board meeting dates as presented.
We have to back up one.
You skipped one.
Oh, wow. I sure
306.
did. Sorry, guys. I make a motion to designate Farmers State Bank with an authorized limit of $30 million, Hills Bank with an authorized limit of $30 million, Current Brothers Bank with an authorized limit of $2 million, and Iowa School Joint Investment Trust with an authorized limit of $5 million as depositories of the district for the 2021-2022 school year.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now,
Would you like me to do that again? I got practice now, so I should be able to say it. Motion to approve the 2021-2022 board meeting dates as presented.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I guess I will get used to this, but I should have said discussion and point out for current board members that there are some date changes from June, July, and August. So if you had them on your calendars already, make sure you update those.
Yeah, because June is one week later. and-
July is 1 week later, and
Yeah.
August is 1 week later, the 29th.
A couple
Yeah.
conflicts in the summertime calendars already, so we pushed those back to the third Monday for June and July. And then the August one is really specifically because the 22nd, which would be our normal date, is most likely going to be the night before the first day of school. I think that was the best time for families and everybody as well. So, and with the next weekend being Labor Day, it worked out well to have still a 2-week gap in between there. So, and then we go back to the second and fourth Mondays after that.
Okay, so moving on to item 308, designation of board representatives to district committees and advisories. I know that Sandra did a great job of speaking with everybody about priorities, and she has passed that information on to me. and we've all had conversations as well. So, for continuity, it looks like we're going to keep, Rachel's going to stay on policy, and Sandra has requested to move to policy. And then I would like to fill the third spot there, as I've never been on that committee. Barry has requested to stay on finance, and Clark has requested to move to finance. So we will have an open spot for discussion on that one. If there are any, for facilities, Clark, Sandra, and I are going to remain on that committee because it's almost done, so that one's not going to change. Barry, you're going to maintain your spot on the Linn County.
It's the Linn County Conference Board. to confirm
Conference, not
your
conservation.
question.
I called it conservation like 3 times. So Barry's going to stay there. Rachel, I want to confirm you said you would like to take the board seat on the Equity Committee?
Correct.
Correct. So Rachel's going to take that position. Sandra has requested to maintain her spot on the CTE Committee. There are 2 additional openings there. And then we have SIAC, so the Student Improvement Advisory Committee, which Barry has requested to stay on. So we will have 2 additional spots there. In speaking with Matt, you indicated that you had interest in the Student Improvement Advisory Committee, correct?
Correct.
All right, so
I'd like to stay on that, Britt, if I can.
I think in,
Melissa
Melissa
also
was-
wants that one. Do you want to?
it worked better with her schedule and all than to.
Okay.
That's the SIAC
That's the
session?
Yeah.
SIAC.
I mean, I can back off of
Well, no,
that,
I mean-
if you'd like.
You two
No, only
figure
if
out
you-
which one of you
okay,
wants
okay.
to
Yeah.
stay on
Okay,
that.
I mean,
It's not a
only
big
if you
deal.
want to. I
Is
can
it
back
Rachel?
off too.
Yeah.
Okay. So SIAC will be Matt, Melissa, and Rachel. So CTE, Matt, do you have an interest in Career and Technical Education Committee?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you will have a position on that one. There is a third spot open on CTE if someone would like to take it. Anyone? We can also talk to Melissa.
You can, talk to her about it, and
Okay.
I'd have an interest, yeah.
There will be a new committee for the venture academics. I talked with Mark Hutchison. That won't start until spring, but I know Barry has interest in that one, correct? So we'll kind of put a pin in that one, and,
Yes.
and then if someone else has interest in that when it starts, we can determine that.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Okay, so Sandra. But that one won't start until spring, because
That's okay.
Is that 2 or 3 members?
we can talk to Mark
discuss
more
that.
when it comes together. It hasn't formed yet, so.
Okay.
I just wanted everyone to be aware that that's going to be a new thing that we can be part of. So, Melissa did indicate that she would take the opposing election cycle from mine for the legislative liaison. So we'll maintain that and work with Shannon as that session begins. So I think for now, everyone has their positions, and we have a couple open spots that we can talk with Melissa about and then come back to the board if we still have opening positions. Does that sound good to everyone?
Sure.
If not, I'm open to, if someone else didn't
So
get
we-
something they want.
So we just need to make a motion to approve that with
Flexibility.
variables, flexibility, whatever you want to call
If
it.
there's not final positions, we can bring it back to the agenda the next time if we're ready
So
in
we
December then as well.
shouldn't table that then, really?
Do you want to table the whole thing? Because I think there's some committee meetings between now and our next meeting.
Yeah, there actually is.
There are a couple.
But we can make a motion and then, like you said, amend it.
Yeah, we can approve it as is now and then make changes as needed after.
Yeah.
Okay. I say most of the committees are filled. We just have a few open spots that, with Melissa unable to join us, I think we should talk with her before we approve everything. But I think we can approve what's been taken so far.
So I'll make that motion to approve all the ones that you've listed up till now. We won't even talk about variables. We'll
Okay.
just worry about that after the fact.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? I remembered this time. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and Shannon's going to talk about board operations manual.
Yeah, my part will be very brief here. Really want to kind of bring it to the board's attention. Every year we have this opportunity with new board members especially, it's a great chance to review the board operations manual. I know Matt and Melissa have seen it, but I'm not sure if I had a chance to really dig into it, and I want to make sure everybody else has a chance to go back and review it again, look at things more carefully. We do have it scheduled on the December board meeting to make necessary adjustments if there are any, and then look for approval at that time as well. So before we got to that point, I wanted to kind of bring it to everybody's attention to review that between now and then. If you have any questions or conversation about things you want to discuss now, we can certainly do that as well. But it's been a helpful document for us to help drive our work and our priorities as a board as well. So not that we have to have a big discussion now, but I just want to make sure everybody kind of brings their attention before the next meeting to
Do you have
take a look at
any
it.
items that you specifically think we should look at?
I don't. I actually went through it again just recently too. I think there's nothing major in my mind that needs to be changed or adjusted at this point anyway.
Okay.
Right.
Between now and the next time we meet, will you have time to talk with Matt and Melissa about it more specifically?
Yep.
So then they will have it familiar to them. Will we, I know I have a copy, but if we need a copy, I think it's online.
It is.
But if anybody needs a physical copy, we can get that for you.
I've got one already.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, because the next meeting isn't until the 13th.
Yeah,
Of December, correct.
so I was just thinking in between, if we can have that time, that would be good.
Right.
Yep, I appreciate that. And if there's not any changes, that's fine. If there is, that's a good chance for us to review it as well.
Okay. Discussion of ISB weekend attendance.
I've heard from a few of you on this. I want to make sure we have obviously a really quick turnaround now at the conference next week already. So we knew there was going to be a quick turnaround documentation with everything. We'll get the registration information submitted first thing tomorrow morning. So at your spot should be a form that Gail has created. If you could fill that out tonight before you leave and give that to her, so we don't have to hunt you down tomorrow, to make sure we have the accurate information for everybody as far as which sessions you want to go to, hotel if you need it or don't need it, and if you do, how many nights, and then the UE and dinner are kind of the main pieces to make sure you look at. For Matt and Melissa, just a little more information on this too. The first day is really geared towards new board members. It's good for everybody, but it's really targeted towards new board members as well. We have to sign up for those sessions in advance. And then the second day is you can pick and choose, and you don't have to sign up ahead of time. So there's a little more flexibility at that point. I would recommend for new board members, I forget exactly what it's called. Oh, thank you. Look at you having that right there in front. The new board member onboarding workshop, the Ready, Set, Govern one in the morning, and in the afternoon, the Finance 101. The two I would really recommend to give you a nice, broad-based view of a board member responsibilities. I can be there then for the workshop piece of it, the first one in the morning, and JT is committed to the afternoon for Finance 101 just to help with any of the more specific questions you may have as well for that time period. So veteran board members, whoever kind of fits your interest or curiosities, you look at that schedule. So, but most importantly, just make sure before you leave tonight, you have homework to give to Gayla before you leave to go home, as well as we'll hunt you down because we want to get registered first thing tomorrow morning. I know some of you can't make it, totally understandable. For those of you that can, even if you could come for one day, it's a great learning opportunity, great networking opportunity as well. And then the UE dinner on the first night, again, that is strictly optional. There's some, I think it's interesting. There's a good opportunity to connect with some larger school district board members and superintendents at that time too, but you don't have to. That's strictly optional for you too. So
Tim,
we do need to RSVP for that one ahead of
I've never
time.
been to that, but Tim said he always thought it was wonderful. He
Oh,
really
yes,
enjoyed
it is.
So, yeah.
Especially as the board splits up at each table, one board member takes one table, one takes another. That way you get a diverse idea of the larger schools when you sit down and talk to them. And then when we get back together, it's very beneficial to do that instead of us just all sitting at one table or everything. So it's kind of enlightening to see how everybody else around the state works and what's important to them and what they're trying to work on, whether it's legislative points or with the problems that they may have in their own district. So it's a good sharing opportunity, I think.
Sandra and I did notice that And Gayla thinks maybe we don't have to register for it, which is why it's not on her form, but there is a second option only offered in the afternoon it's called Ripe Innovations. Low-hanging fruit has to do with relationships, interest, practice, and equity. So if
Oh, yeah, that is the one I was gonna do.
Yeah, so
That is the
it's
one
not
I was
on the
gonna-
list,
Yep.
but if you want to do it, that is an option,
I
and
think
it
I
is
saw
listed
it
on their
online.
website, so.
Yeah. I indicated to Gayla that I wanted to do that, so Rachel, if you're interested, and she said if she finds it, that she'll
Okay.
pre-register, but I
Okay,
think it
then we
may,
can-
yeah.
Okay, I
It
will
may
do-
be, it may be open, but you know what I'm
Okay.
saying. You might.
I would like to make one other statement. After what I just said, I think it's imperative to let all the board members know I will not be attending. I'll be hopefully moving my 91-year-old mother into a different facility in Marshalltown. And so I will not be attending this year, but I wanted everybody to know exactly why I would not be there. And family comes first, and I'm the oldest, and you got to do what I got to do.
Well, Mr.
And I've
Clark,
already had to take a car away, so I'm already in a quandary right there, so thank you.
Makes it
I
hard.
already shared with Shannon that I was not going to be able to attend either. I'm doing the next step, Clark. I'm settling my mom's estate next week, so I'll be in the middle of that, so.
Well, don't be surprised if I make several calls to you.
What do I do,
Seriously.
what do I do, yeah.
Oh, we
It's
will,
tough.
I'll fill you guys in on what we learn when we get back.
Good, I hope so.
So,
Like I said, we certainly understand people have responsibilities in life, whether it's family or work, and not able to always make things happen. So the fact that as many board members can be there as we have is fantastic. So looking forward to it. Should be some great learning. It's a really tight turnaround right after the election, obviously, but in some ways that's a good thing. It's a really good opportunity to network and connect and learn, especially as a new board member. So we'll make the best of the quick turnaround, and I'm glad everybody can make that happen as much as possible. So looking forward to it.
okay. Any further discussion or questions about next week? Okay. We look at communications calendar. There's nothing under board communications, so we'll look at board calendar. And would anyone like to volunteer for the November 8th Marion City Council? Remember to get that one on the calendar.
Which one is it?
November 18th.
November 18th?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we'll be in,
Oh, we'll all be,
we'll all be in,
I'll
so
go
it'd have to
back
be
that
somebody
day.
who's
Yeah, so we just,
not going and they're busy.
I'll be
so-
in Nebraska. yeah.
Okay, then we're just gonna have to.
I'll just look over the notes from the meeting minutes.
Maybe they'll have their election settled by then.
They're gonna, did they draw the name out of the hat yet?
No, they aren't doing that now. They're gonna
They're
recount.
going to recount.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, I guess they both said that,
The
so.
supervisors agreed today to do a recount instead, so.
There's also a December 2nd city council meeting before our next board meeting, so you might want to look at
Yes.
that one as well.
I'll volunteer for that one.
Thank you, Barry.
okay, thank you.
A quick question for you, Shannon, then. You know, we've tabled going to any elementary schools. Now, we're going to start that back up in January then.
Yep. You've actually literally read my notes right here, Barry. So,
Because on my calendar it popped up today for tomorrow.
Yep.
I learned last night we're going to Wilkins in January.
Yep, so we've updated the schedule because of some postponements from this fall. So you will, in this week's memo, I have a pretty detailed list of the new schedule for you. The ones that were scheduled, I think we've had one this week.
Yeah,
to
Yeah,
go
there's
on
supposed to be
the
one
first
tomorrow,
Those will
but-
not be happening.
yeah.
We've postponed those until the second semester to align with the return to learn plans. So actually, I think we have 7 board visits scheduled in the second semester. So we'll be busy with that. It'll be really fun. It'll be a great opportunity to get in our buildings. And we've scheduled a few non-school building visits for board members as well. I think the Aquatic Center is on the schedule, and transportation may be on there as well. So for the spring, and then 5 buildings. So you'll see the schedule this Friday. Updated version starting in January. And about every 3 weeks after that, we have them pretty frequently scheduled. So that has been unfortunate for this fall, but it'll be really good when we come back in January to hit several buildings right away. So.
There is a city council meeting on the 16th if someone wants to claim it, but we can wait until the next meeting as well, so.
I'll
And
do
then-
it. I'll
Thank you,
just put my
Sandra.
name on it.
And then, I know it's not on here, but,
Just for sense of communication, to Matt, basically all we try to do is, if you can't go to the board meeting, at least watch it online and get into their minutes, just in case there's something that would affect us as a district. And quite often, when the meetings are live, quite often you might get asked some questions at the meeting too. So it really, the communication and the relationship is really pretty good. So, you know, and of course lately, the main stuff has been land development and where they're going to be building or what's going to happen, so we can kind of help plan ahead a little bit too, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then I was just going to mention, it's not on the list, but we are hosting the Education Roundtable tomorrow night, correct? At 4 o'clock?
Yeah, that's been a slow communication on that, but an exciting plan that we have to set up. Senator Mathis has, she and I have been talking for several years about the teacher shortage concerns that we have, and every year it's gotten to be more of a challenge, and we think that really will even become more of a challenge yet in the future. So she's taken the next step, besides just proposing bills at the House and the Senate, but really wants to do more conversation with schools. So she has 4 different roundtables set up through Eastern Iowa this next couple months, and so we're glad to co-host it with Marion Independent School District tomorrow. We have a nice representation of administrators and teachers. Saunders volunteered to be our board rep for that as well. Carla Christian will serve from Human Resources as well. And then Marion Independent has a similar group, and I think there's 6 or 7 legislators have now said they are coming as well.
Oh, good.
We've invited the media as well. So there's not going to be any decisions or action taken, obviously. It's a roundtable discussion, chance for everybody to share their perspectives on what the challenges are for teacher shortage, not just for full-time teachers, but also substitute teachers, and what the challenges that creates on teachers' day-to-day lives and impact on kids as well. So if that's tomorrow afternoon, so we're looking forward to having the opportunity to connect with Senator Mathis, and at least 5 or 6 other legislators are coming as well. So, and then I think her goal after having all 4 of those roundtable discussions is to come out there with some consistent recommendations to come forward to bring to the legislature when the session starts up again in January. So,
Great.
excited to see. Hopefully that leads to some traction and some support, because it's absolutely a real need. Thank you for remembering to bring that up.
Britt, before we end, I'd like to just make a communication to everyone.
Yeah.
If we're ready, if that's okay.
The only thing I was going to mention was the Lion Learning, and confirm the topic is still Venture Academics.
Yep. Lion Learning on November 30th. It'll be a repeat session, both of them Venture Learning, Venture Academics. You heard from some students and staff members from that program. Was that last board meeting? 2 board meetings ago, whenever that was? So they'll go into more in depth, and that will be more of a targeted focus for families or students that are considering venture, to learn more about it before they begin the registration process again in January and February for next school year as well. So trying to educate our families, educate our students on that. Noon and 5:30 will both be in-person sessions this time.
Are you
Do
wanting
you
board
want-
representatives?
You know, it's been so long since we've done one of those because of all the challenges. I kind of forgot. In the past, we have had a couple board reps for those as well. So yes, I would love to have some board members participate in that if they're interested. And your role in participation would be not having to present, just there to answer any questions, and then also just observe and report back to the larger board as well.
I would do the noon session.
Great, because I can do 5:30.
Yeah, I'll do the noon session on the 30th.
All right, so Barry and Rachel at noon. I can do 5:30. It's not required, but if any.
I'd be glad to be at 5:30 also.
We can have up to 3. We just can't have a quorum, obviously.
Yep.
So.
All right, so there's 1 spot open at each spot, and if we get closer, if Clark or Matt or
Right.
Melissa
Just show
there,
up,
just
yeah.
let us know, so we don't everybody show up. Just talk to Shannon and.
Yeah, just if you decide you do want to participate, just let me know, so make sure we do avoid having a quorum show up
Okay.
and violate open meetings laws. So.
Any other questions about the calendar, comments? All right, Sandra?
I just want to say that I've been on the board now 6 years, and 4 of those years I was lucky enough and enjoyed being president. I have encouraged a change, and I think that Britt will do a wonderful job. I think it's really great. I just want to thank kind of how Tim felt. I feel like the boards have, they asked and supported me, and I appreciate everyone who was involved in making all of that successful. But we worked as a team, and we worked out things that didn't go well, and I believe we can do that going forward. It's going to take some work because of some of the situations we're in, but I think we can do this. Think very positive about it. And I just want to thank everyone for their support while I was president. My ideas and my whatever, you put up with a lot of me asking many, many questions. But I appreciate all of your support, so that's all I'm going to say.
Well, and I want to thank you for those 4 years of leadership. I know my 2 on the board, you've been immensely helpful as a resource, and I always felt that I could ask you 100 questions and 101 wouldn't have been too much. So I want to thank you for your leadership and your service as well.
Thank you. And if you have any questions going forward,
I have
give
your
me
phone
a call.
number.
I'm always here.
I gotcha.
It's all good.
Yeah, we know where you live.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Any other
Thank you.
communications? I will look for a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.